Yeah, what's up, kings and queens? We're back again, and as usual, we're going to the mirror case to see what sense can we make out of it. Now, today was a chance for Advocate Nxumalo to put across his 174 application, right, in a bid to free accused number 4 from, from this case, like from this trial, from the accusations that he was involved in the Mewa trial. Now, what we're going to do is to look at some of the points that Nxumalo brought, and also I will bring up some of my own that I feel like we need to. Sorry, man, I have a load of legging. I hope now I'm okay. There was some kind of legging there. I couldn't be precise coming. Now, let's talk about what happened today. Before we do that, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that when we drop more content like this, you are in the loop. Now, sorry for cutting you off, or so to say, like leave you in the lurch for some time. The case was on recess, sort of a little bit of recess, so I figured that, okay, I could take some recess too. Now, let's talk about what happened today. Advocate Nxumalo writes, his application was concise, precise, and to the point. And I agree with a whole lot of things that he brought up in that case, in his his presentation. Now, we were able to see that Ratha is still trying to block for the state, even though there's not much that he can use to try to block for the state. We'll look into that. Now, you will have to excuse me because I'm a little bit rusty in terms of presentation, but because I've not been doing this for some time. I've been on some kind of a break. Now, I'm going to have to kind of read off of some of my notes that I made during the proceedings. But what I can say is I approve of the application that was brought in by Advocate Nxumalo. Now, let's proceed. Now, we all know that, in fact, let me just add on. When Nxumalo was talking about this case, and when he was mentioning the confessions, when he was mentioning each instance that the state is claiming that the accused was busy with, like the accused was guilty of, I wish he would have all the time said the alleged information coming from the state. This is the alleged, because in a way, so that he rebuts the state, he doesn't even indirectly end up agreeing with the state, with the assertions that are made by the state. Now, we know that he read the charges, right? He talked about the charges that these accused are accused of. But what is funny is, out of all the charges that were read out there, we know that Ntanzi at some point, in fact, some of the accused at some point were arrested allegedly by Mohola and Mohane and Mabena, where they alleged that they found bullets in a plastic bag, right? But now, funny enough, those charges are not here. Those charges are not mentioned in this case. In the charges that NPA has, chosen to pursue. Now, those I was expecting that those charges also should be in this case included, but they are not, which shows that this state's case is not consistent. Another thing that we can point out, this is something that I made, right? This is just a timeline that I made, talking about the timeline of the case, right? In 2014, the crime happened. And then identities were made in that same year. Zamukutla was arrested in that same year. He was even acquitted in that same year. Now, what's funny enough is in 2019, they claimed that Gininda claimed that he met Zungu's father. And then when he met Zungu's father, this boy, Zungu Jr., gave us a breakthrough when he said his father was now agreeing to come and make a statement. First of all, you have to be aware of something here. You have to be aware that Gininda's statement, talking about Zungu's father being the main witness, it is only mentioned in passing. It's not mentioned now in Zungu's statement where he's saying he's mentioned that he heard it from his mother. He doesn't mention it. The only time that Zungu's father is mentioned is by Gininda in passing, and then by some of the lawyers when they read the statement of Zungu's father. Now, we know that Zungu's father is denying the assertion by Gininda that he was agreeing with, saying that no, this is his son. In fact, he himself had heard over about Ntanzi and Muzi and the fight that was going on in the village, and then he was able to pass the information to Zungu. We have to be aware now that Zungu Jr. is now the one who's being relied upon. I think they made this U-turn when they realized that no, Zungu's father is denying to come and give this bogus statement. We all know that he denied that statement. Now, be aware of something. It's 2019, Zungu's father is being met, and then he denies ever doing that, ever giving that statement. It is alleged that this statement was made in 2019. Now, funny enough, now Zungu's, in fact, Zungu Jr. now, his statement now is only certified and commissioned on the 31st of May 2023. But in 2020, a whole lot of things happened that relied on that statement. Let me read them to you. Like 16 June, Ntanzi was arrested, 2020. 19 June, Ntanzi's confession. And then 30 June, the alleged confession. And in between the CBS confessions as well. Now, his alleged confessions. Now, also, the ballistic tests were done in 2020. And then August, the docket was handed to the NPA. Are you telling me that this docket was handed to the NPA without Zungu's statement, which was commissioned only in 2023? What did they base their assertions upon? And then what did the NPA see inside the document that made them say, no, yeah, there's a case here. There's a case for this accused to answer, when Zungu's statement was not even there? How did they come to the conclusion that, yeah, no, wait a minute, just hold on. Yeah. Now, how was Zungu only able to do his statement in 2023? Yet, we know that the NPA was handed the docket way back in 2020. How is that possible? What did they rely upon on Zungu's statement? Now, let's look at what happened today in today's case, right? It was egg on Ratha's face when he tried to, disturb Nxumalo. When Nxumalo say it's funny that the state is saying in charge number 3, Kelly Khumalo, and in fact, before he even mentioned his mother, Kelly Khumalo was the complainant in charge number 3. But yet, she was not called to come and clarify that complaint. Ratha came in and tried to thwart Mgomezulu, in fact, Nxumalo's thoughts. And then we found out that he was not able to, because Nxumalo came through like, thank you for reminding me that Mrs. Khumalo as well, mom, the Kelly Khumalo's mother as well, she was not brought to come and clarify her case. Yet she's also a complainant there. So Ratha was left with an egg on the face there. And it happened a couple of times today. Also, when he tried to mention Makaleni at the end, he's trying to tell us that Makaleni giving the bread and some things, the soap and what when he met in Tanzi, somehow that corroborates Zungu's evidence. How does that corroborate Zungu's evidence? It doesn't, because we are well aware that nowhere that Buthelezi mentioned Zungu, or was he ever around Zungu during his testimony. And now, I was impressed when Zungu, in fact, when Advocate Nxumalo mentioned the fact that Zungu is the main man here in this case, right? Is the person that the state is relying upon. Yet, his AVLs, his phone records, this is some things that I'm adding upon what Nxumalo was talking about. His AVL was not brought in to confirm his whereabouts, to corroborate his whereabouts on that day when he claims that he was with the accused, right, at the hostel. His AVL was not brought. His Section 205 was not requested from Vodacom to come and clarify the calls that he had made to Lishabani, Gininda, the calls that he had made to Kwabeni. This is the one that was mentioned by Advocate Nxumalo. Kwabeni was not called to come and clarify or confirm that he was with Zungu at the hostel. This is some of the things that the state failed to do in order to bolster its case. And then, that, as Nxumalo said, inferences can be drawn from this outcome, that the state was fearing that some of these witnesses will come and say things that are unfavorable to its case, and then they will end up losing the case based on these witnesses that they themselves, the state, deem as hostile. Now, let me just check again. What else am I missing? Right. Now, he also mentioned Steyn. We know that Steyn, right? Steyn is somebody who is alleging that there was a WhatsApp call. This call metamorphosed. It transformed, like it changed into a whole of thing. It was an internet call claim at first, then it changed to a WhatsApp call. In fact, a BBM, I don't know which came first, and then a WhatsApp call. So, and Steyn was trying to make us believe, during cross-examination with Mshololo, Steyn was trying to make us believe that WhatsApp call and BBM call is one and the same thing. This is a state expect in terms of phones and whatever, phone testimony. This is the person who we are supposed to believe, but he's trying to make us believe that WhatsApp call and BBM call is one and the same thing, which is not. We know that this is garbage. Now, coming from that, we know that Steyn's information is bogus. And I want to add this, that all the states expect how much and how long they may try to convince us that, the data that they are working with is not editable or is not manipulated. It's not like you can't manipulate it to fit your purpose. no matter how long they try to convince us and get on the stage and try to convince us about that, it will never be convincing, because as soon as you take it from the form that was brought from the Section 205 of Vodacom, who are the service providers, and you introduce whatever you introduce, those 2 hours plus 2 hours, that plus 27, whatever you deleting the empty numbers, it has changed now, right? It has changed, and it has now been modified. So they have to live with that. Now let's go on. Thank you for those who are in the live. Thank you for those who are liking. Guys, I'll come back to you. I just want to put down the fact that I noted coming from Nxumalo's 174 application, right? Staying's calls are not visible on the calls that he claims that are calls between accused number 5 and Kelekuman. Those calls are not visible in Section 205 by the state. There's a big discrepancy there. Instead, on the Section 205 by Vodacom, sorry for saying the state, on the Section 205 by Pinky Vaitilinga, what appears is a call from Kelekuman to Atamafukat. And then they decided to switch it up and say it's a call from accused number 5. Let's talk about when Nxumalo mentioned, right, Section 284 of Act 31, right, and then which is pre-act of 51 of 1977. Yeah, this is Section 284 Act 31, right, and then which is coming pre-action Act 51 of 1977. That Weber mentioned that the credibility of a single witness must be merited based on his credibility to be able to be relied upon, right? His bias against the accused alone is not enough to convince the court that he's reliable. But looking at the credibility of Zungu, can we all say that Zungu was credible? We can't, because Zungu he perjured himself a couple of times, which was mentioned by Mr. Advocate Nxumalo, right? He perjured himself when he say, this is something that I mentioned. I saw myself. This was not mentioned by Nxumalo. This guy perjured himself when he said, when he was about to approach that room, where he claims the accused were sitting, they had just entered. They switched off the light. After switching off the light, he proceeded to say that they handed a 38, and Tanzi was handed a 38, and another 9mm was handed to accused number 5. Now, how do you see in the dark? This is something that I just noted by myself. Like, how do you see in the dark inside the room where a light was just switched off? It doesn't make sense. Now, like, this is now what was mentioned by Advocate Nxumalo, right? In the cross-examination, right, he lied and said the person who was wearing a cap, when he was being cross-examined by Ramosape, the person who was wearing a cap is accused number 2. And then when he was made aware that that person is actually accused number 3, he had nothing to say for it. So that's number 1. Another lie that we can point out from his. Another thing, he doesn't come as a credible witness because he himself is a police officer, yet he was able to see multiple crimes according to himself, but he was not able to alert anybody of those crimes. The shooting of Kwabene, the shooting of all those things, handing over of guns, stuff. He was even able to sit with the Nkabis when he's a policeman, which is highly disputed by his own father, who says, How can he, as a cop, be invited to hang around with people who are doing it, a job that's directly opposite to what he's doing? Right. Now, in terms of corroboration, Nxumalo mentioned a whole lot of things, right? Corroboration that Zungu's records were not bought. Some of the people who are vital to this case were not brought to come and plead their case. And we could say that the fact that Zungu's father himself rebuts this case, it just says a whole lot of things. We are well aware now that after this case, that Gininda didn't conduct a whole lot of investigation. He also, in terms of corroboration, he mentioned the DNA evidence, and he went into detail what exactly Mr. Masetle said when he was, reporting, testifying on the DNA records. And are you aware? This is something that I just picked up from the news that were laid to us way back when. Are you aware that there were claims that there was one dreadlock that was left on the scene? Are you aware of that? I'm wondering why that dreadlock was not brought here to be, the report on that dreadlock was not mentioned. I'm wondering why. Is it because that dreadlock is not there, doesn't exist? But in some news it's there. Now, in terms of this corroboration of him being with these guys, a whole lot of things were missed. And when it comes to the vital people who were here, some of them were not brought to come and plead the case. Even he mentioned even that the DNA expert said excluded, not confusion that was brought by Ratha, and then Gininda saying no, that there's a mixture, 3% of what. That 3% it has to do with gender and some of the traits that two people who don't have the same DNA might share. Now, guys, I'm not going to take too much of time. I just wanted to say this is what I was willing to bring to you. I'm not able to read the comments. I just wanted to bring this to you. Also, I was happy that Ratha is hitting blanks today, because everything that he's trying to bring across is garbage. Take the last point that he tried to raise when now the court was closing. When he say, in terms of the interest of justice, Makeleni's evidence could be taken in, and it could be taken just based on what Gininda was saying, because Gininda was there with him. When he found out that Gininda was not there, he tried to find out now frantically who was there. Was it Mkhola? Was it Mohana? Was it who? Who was there? What is the aim behind this? The aim behind this is trying to find somebody, whoever was mentioning this information about Makaleni, who was in court, who had testified, so that he can just patch his evidence to fit his narrative. We know that Makaleni's evidence was probably narrated to Mrs. Steenkamp when she was drawing the identikits, because it was mentioned that he was the only one who was able to construct the identikit of accused number 2. So Rathas now, he forced them to go and search who it was. So we were going to see if he would say no. Since Steenkamp said Makaleni saw that guy, it is corroborating enough. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to take too much of your time. Thank you for checking me out. Thank you for liking the live, for those who were there. I'm going to pop out. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when we drop more content like this, you're in the loop. We'll be back tomorrow, again, talking about what happened today in terms of that case that will be happening tomorrow. Probably the state will be laying the rebuttal of the 174 application that was brought by Nxumalo, but we'll see. I think it was nice, concise, precise, to the point, the application by Nxumalo, and I approve. Chuku family, hi King. Yeah, hi, how are you? How are you, my sister? Thank you, fine. Thank you for popping in. You came at a time when I was just to close the live.